now, what you say now? It's your girl Jordan, aka Jordan Speaks, and I'm back with another freaking video. So today I am actually gonna do a reaction video. If you follow me on Instagram, you may remember a day I put on social media, I asked certain questions about male and female. So certain things like, do you believe men should pay for dates? It's crazy because I thought a lot of people would say yes. Like, I thought a lot of girls would say yes and a lot of guys would say no. But actually, a lot of guys said yes and a lot of girls said no. So that was really interesting. I also asked a question like, during an argument or after an argument, should the man always apologize first? And I thought it was a lot of women that answered, not a lot of men answered, but one man answered and he said yes. So I thought that was really interesting. But anyway, I put a couple of questions up like that. And this girl answered my question. She DM'd me. We were talking back and forth. And I was like, hey, why not you record a video about, the pressures of this world, about stereotypes, all that, and we kind of see what the people think. So I'm going to respond to the video she sent me, and we're going to see how it goes. So I'm going to screen record off my phone, and then you guys will see all of that.
So I'm essentially going to be talking about the pressure that men and women in society have to face as far as like the early 20s. I'm 22. In all honesty, when I tell people, I think that as far as women, there's obviously certain things that we can do that men can't do. But the biggest thing as far as the pressure would have to be the fact that we have to be perfect. And I mean also men as well. But like from a biblical standpoint, as far as like being a Proverbs 31 woman, that's like pretty much impossible.
So I want to stop right there. I think when she say I think being a Proverbs 31 woman is impossible, I think she's saying like it's literally impossible to be perfect. Like, I think Proverbs 31 describes a perfect woman, and because we are wrapped in flesh, it's literally like impossible to be perfect. So she's not saying, you can't be or have the attributes of a Proverbs 31 woman, but I do believe she's saying like we're not going to be perfect. So
that those are attributes that would be nice. So as far as a woman, I feel like it would be, a good thing if you know how to cook, if you know how to clean the house. I mean, if you know how to, as far as raising kids, that's like a whole learning process. But we have this expectation, and as far as being perfect, knowing like we have everything, or making it seem like we have everything under control and that we know how to handle our emotions. And I think same thing goes for men. I think that as far as like in our nature, we are the caregivers or the ones that know how to nurture. I'm not saying that men don't know how to nurture. But I think just how we're brought up and the environment that they're in, it's like we have this desire to just give, and just provide and care for. And as far as men, they have this like standard or expectation that they should have everything together as well, and that they should be able to provide, otherwise they're not a real man. And I think that ties into like the whole like masculinity aspect of society that they like to point out.
So right now she's talking about the the stereotypical thoughts of like masculinity. That's a hard word to say. And she's basically saying like we have the pressure. One of the pressures in life, especially for young people, like when we first become adults, is to believe that as young women we should know how to do everything. We should know how to cook. We should know how to clean. I mean, maybe, but we feel like that's our gauge. Like people teach us that that is our gauge, that if you don't know how to cook or you don't know how to clean or you're not nurturing, then you're less of a woman. And then like for the man, the thought is, you know, you're supposed to have everything figured out. You're supposed to have enough money already. You're supposed to have a great job already. And if not, then you're less of a man. That's what I got out of what she's saying right now. Like one of the huge pressures that we have as young women and men is that people believe or kind of push us to believe that we have to have everything figured out and that we have to fit a certain role or a certain category as young women and young men.
And I personally don't think that in order to be a man, you need to be this perfect, like, macho man. Like, no, I feel like an issue, it's always been an issue, that boys growing up, they would tell them, like, hey, don't cry, that's for girls, or don't cry like a girl, or, you know, man up. So, like, now we live in this culture that men are afraid to express their feelings. They're afraid to cry. They're afraid to even feel. And so...
You know, I gotta pause it right here. That is my thing. I am always advocating for stop telling boys that boys don't cry. Because boys cry. Crying is a natural given right. Jesus wept. That's my favorite thing. Like, boys are allowed to cry. Men are allowed to cry. And she's right. Like, we live in a society where they kind of tell us, like, you know, or tell men you're not supposed to cry, or you're not supposed to do this, you're not supposed to do that. And then men get to a point where they can't express themselves, or they don't want to, or they refuse to. And then women have to date men that refuse to express how they feel, or they date men that don't know how to express or put into words what they're feeling. And that's mad frustrating for a woman, as well as it's mad frustrating for a man that wants to express but feel like he can't or just really don't know how. So I think it's really important not to tell your kids, you know, boys don't cry. Yeah. But I accidentally exited out of the video, so isn't that nice? While I'm getting the video back, I think it's important, like I said, you know, not to tell your boys, hey, oh, you don't cry, or boys don't cry. But I want to go through it because she has so many good points,
And I grew up on my mom's side. She's Venezuelan. And so people would tell me, you know, why don't you act black? And I'm like, well, you know, I can't really, what does it mean to act black? And then I would be like, well, I can't really express something I was never really exposed to. And that's just like as a female Latina, you know? And that's just the biggest thing, honestly, as far as the pressure to be perfect, to have it all together. I'm only 22. I'm still in school. This is going to be my 5th year. And I think, especially as a creative,
so
your mind is...
Now she's talking about, like, being Latino and mixed with black and the type of stereotypes that comes with that, or the type of tests that comes with that. Like she said, people would always ask her, like, you know, why don't you act black? Whatever that really means. Like, how do you, you know, act black? That's really interesting. But I think, like she was saying, it all boils down to the fact that people believe that we have to have it all together. And we don't have to have it all together. Like, we're still young, we're still learning, we're still growing. And it's important for us to realize that nobody has it all figured out. Like, you may look at your friends and think like, oh, they got a good life, blah, blah, blah. But it's still something they're struggling with. It's still something that they don't know. It's still something that they're not as good at. That you may be good at, or you may already know. Like, and I've learned this with my friends, like, a lot of things I already know. I had to grow up really fast. So a lot of things I already know, or a lot of things I've already, like, experienced and gotten over. So it's like, you know, sometimes my friends come to me and they ask for advice, and I'm like, I'd say something like, you know, you got to learn to prioritize your cares. You got to learn how to, yeah, you should still care. You should care about your people. You should care about all that. But some things aren't worth reaction. Some things aren't worth stressing about. You got to learn how to say, you know what? Okay. Just throw it in the back of your mind. Like, because if not, life will be stressful. Or you got to learn that, okay, nobody has it figured out. So why would I practically kill myself or put on a facade like I got it figured out when nobody has it figured out? Like, nobody in this world, it doesn't matter how much money they have, how old they are, have this whole life thing figured out. Life is about experience and learning from your mistakes and growing and expressing those mistakes. I always tell people all the time, you know, parents are always like, don't make the same mistakes I make. But how can we not make the same mistakes if we don't know the mistakes we made? So the video was actually longer. So if y'all want me to do a part 2 of this reaction video, comment below. We want to hear what else she has to say. And I'll do a part 2 because she gets like deep into it. Like, she says like some good stuff that I can really expound on. So if y'all want that, comment. We want part 2. We want to see what else she got to say. We want to see what else you think. And I'll do it. Remember, like, comment, and subscribe. Continue to share. Let's run this video up. We're on the road to 1 million. I love you guys, and so does God. I'm out.